All right, welcome everyone to the WellWaveNOW show. This is our series on Backstories, and today we have our very own Dr. Bob Levine here, so we can learn more about him. Welcome to the show, Dr. Bob. How are you?
Great. And it's good to be here with you guys in a different kind of a venue.
So let's start right into it. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, Bethesda, Maryland. That's where I was raised. And back when Bethesda, Maryland, which is now a monstrous city, used to have farms with cows, and they'd wake us up in the morning. It was kind of cool. And we lived on a gravel road, the last house on a gravel road, and that was in 1963, and I was in elementary school at the time. So that was a fun time to grow up there in Bethesda, and it was back when all the kids played outside. We rode our bikes everywhere. We were active. We just, I mean, there were no computers or cell phones or anything to distract us. We had these little, either black and white or color or small, really tiny color TVs that we thought were so cool. My dad built a Heathkit color TV with 27 inches. We were sitting there watching Love American Style, where they had all the fireworks going off in the beginning of the show, and it was really, really something to see. And now it would be considered so archaic. It would be hilarious. But in any case, so I grew up there in Bethesda, Maryland, and I was a star high school athlete. I don't know how much detail you want me to go into.
We'll
That
get into those questions.
decent, good childhood, creative father. I hadn't heard the Heathkit in a long time. That really give me a flashback on that one.
That
Those
is
two.
a flashback. Yeah, yeah.
So if you look at that, Dad, what was your family like? So did you have siblings, cousins around, anything?
There were four kids in the family. And our family was both functional and dysfunctional at the same time, like most families in the world. But it was a good time growing up, and yeah, I remember a lot of things about my childhood that really formed me in terms of who I am today. Um, but yeah, I was number the third child of four. I had an older brother, an older sister, and a younger brother, and all of us are still alive and kicking and doing well. Uh, yeah, so it was a good time though. My mother was a school teacher. My dad was a nuclear engineer. He directed the Nuclear Regulatory Commission nuclear reactor safety program for a long time, and my mom taught English and history, and it was the real cornerstone of the family basically. And I learned a lot from those. They were very smart individuals and very loving parents in their own way. I mean, their generation, I don't think really knew how to express love in different ways. And I think these days we've learned as a culture, a lot of people anyway that I know have learned as a culture how to deliver being loving to others and loving
Hmm.
to ourselves, and different ways of doing that. And different people have different needs. And I think, there's no parent that has a manual of how to raise your kids is really
Sure.
quite the challenge. And so I think my parents did pretty well in general. And, there's some hiccups here and there.
So who do you think influenced you the most when you were growing up?
Oh, you mean in terms of the family life or?
Anything, could have been family, could have been a teacher, could have been one of your coaches, anybody
I
who
think I think sports in general. I mean, aside from the family, I think sports in general was the key to my early existence. I mean, I just loved playing sports and being a pretty good athlete in general. I went to college on a football scholarship, as you guys know. Um, yeah, so just all I wanted to do was sports and girls. That's what I was looking at, and fun. Even though I got good grades and just was considered to be a relatively smart kid.
What do you think sports gave you? If it wasn't a person that influenced you, how does sports really influence you,
I
Bob?
think sports are really great from a teamwork standpoint, especially team sports. Individual sports are great too. But I played football, played basketball, ran track, threw the discus, did all kinds of different sports. But I think the team aspect of sports is really valuable, and learning to work with people, your players, the other players, and take directives from the coach and let them guide you with their expertise, which sometimes we didn't agree with, but that's okay. Yeah, so that's what I think. I think it's the team aspect of things. And I like we're a team, in our Well Wave Now podcast. And that to me, that's important. I love being on teams, and because I think teams can produce with synergy more than any individual can produce by themselves. So
Right, great, appreciate So you had the academics, you had the good family life, you had the sports. Now, how about do you have a creative side? Could you sing? Was there any music in your life? Did you
So, when I was in
how
sixth
about
grade,
ballet? Did you go out? Could you
well,
dance, Bob?
my mom tried to get me into every musical instrument there was, violin,
Mhm.
piano, guitar, and I was not going to have any of it because sports was my thing. And but in sixth grade, I was we did a karaoke kind of group thing, and I was the lead singer in our rock band that was up there, and I was singing a rock song. And afterwards, my friend came up to me and said, Bob, you're the worst singer I've ever heard. Really good friend of mine. I'm friends with him to this day, but he shut me down. I'm not, he didn't shut me down. I shut myself down because
Mhm.
I loved to sing, and I thought I had a halfway decent voice, right? And now two of my sons are actually singers. My oldest son is 22. He's a opera singer, and he's at University of Michigan doing a master's program. And he's got an incredibly deep bass voice. And my middle son is more of a tenor, and he plays in a rock band, and he's into um, film and music production at going to Full Sail University in Winter Park. So there's a lot of fine arts, and of course Charlene is a her father owned a ballet studio, her father and mother for 60 years, and they did ballet, tap, jazz, dance, all kinds of things. They taught a lot of different things. So there's a lot of fine
You
arts in
mentioned
our family.
Charlene. Who's Charlene?
She's my wife. Yeah, singing is fun, and I'm really disappointed in myself actually for never having been able to move through that friendly comment that my buddy Nick made. But it's okay because I sang, walking home from the bus stop, I used to sing, going home, every day, and
Yeah.
so.
Isn't that amazing how one comment can have that much influence? Dr. Bob, are there any family traditions that when you were growing up that you've carried on with your kids?
Well, I grew up in a Jewish family, and so we had very reformed Jewish participation. And
Hmm.
then when my kids were born, we carried on with that in our family, and we have a very Judeo-Christian outlook on life, and I am not too happy with what's going on in our current affairs, where our Christian communities are really getting hammered in inappropriate ways, and I'm not really happy about that at all. And I'm thankful that I think there's changes that are coming that are going to support our Christian communities. But so yeah, but I grew up in a Jewish household, and it was really something to be a white guy in an athletic environment, and being Jewish, and so if you were a black guy, everybody knew you were black, right? But if you're a white Jewish guy, really nobody knows you're Jewish. And so you hear everything. You hear all the talk, all the jokes, and it was really, really something else. And it was quite eye-opening. I have some incredible stories like that. But because Jewish uh, Jews are not known to be stellar athletes in general. We've had great athletes. We do.
Number of them.
Yeah, there were always representatives. I mean, Sandy Koufax,
Right.
he
Hmm.
Jewish baseball player who didn't pitch in the World Series because of his he fell on a Jewish holiday. So yeah, but it wasn't that widely known. We didn't have a lot of penetration. So
Yeah.
anyway, there's some interesting stories about that. One story I wanted to share with you guys because I don't think you know this story about me, but and you talked about Breck, one comment, what it can do, one comment, right? My mother took me to get my IQ tested when I was somewhere between the ages of 4 and 5, and I think she thought that I was like a smart little kid. I had no idea why I was being tested, right? And I think she wanted some guidance on how to, um, help me figure out what to do with my life. If I'm a smart kid and I can do a lot of different things, then I think she felt inadequate actually, because almost all every like I've had more, thousands and thousands of clients, and every single one of them has this phenomenon I'm going to explain to you, where early in life something happens, and it causes the young toddler, whatever age they are, to invent a conclusion about themselves based on some circumstance, right? So she took me to get my IQ tested, and I was in there doing all these different tests from some old guy like us, white lab coat and so whatever he was. I just remember sitting in front of the desk and he'd give me different tests to do. And I was a little kid and it was really fun. I was doing everything really well. Then he threw down some blocks in front of me and he said, "Okay, put the blocks together." I went, "Okay." And I'm looking at these blocks and I'm thinking, well, how do these blocks go together? I had no clue how these blocks could go together. And he looked at me and he said, "Are you sure you don't know how to put these blocks together?" And as soon as he said that, I was like, wow, there must be really something wrong with me. I must be stupid. That was
Yeah.
my invented conclusion. So I invented the conclusion, and that got, where do you think that got buried? It got buried in my subconscious mind to reside there and affect my life for many decades. And I can tell you that, so what he did was he said, okay, I'm going to give you some help here. And he went to go grab 2 blocks, and then I saw it. I went, oh, wait. And I put them together like that. But that was it. I left that place less happy than when I walked in. And I had buried in my subconscious mind that I was stupid. And everybody has come to some conclusion like that about themselves. They're either stupid, they're a loser, they're unlovable, they're unworthy, they're undeserving, they're alone, they're bad. Could be any kind of conclusion like that, and that gets buried in the subconscious mind. So consequently, from that point on, I was running around as this probably smart little kid internally, not knowing, thinking I was stupid and protecting myself from people finding out that I thought that deep down inside, but not consciously. So, what do people who concluded they were stupid at a young age but didn't know they concluded that, and how do they live life? Well, you're careful. You don't raise your hand in class to ask questions. My excuse was, well, I know the answer to that. I'll let somebody else answer, just in case.
Right. So that's had that event had an influence on how you look at things now, how you work with people. But
Totally.
let's
Oh, by
talk.
the way, I just got to say one more thing about this story. So I got my PhD out of
Mhm.
compensating for that early conclusion.
Good.
So, like 25 or 30 years later, I'm getting a PhD in, brain research, high level stuff. I'd published, as a graduate student, I published 17 papers, including peer reviewed papers in Science and other journals. Um, and yet, for me, it was like no big deal. It was like I'm in a survival life. I'm living, in survival, and everything. And so, what is a person who concluded they were stupid at a young age and didn't know they did concluded that, and it was running them? What does somebody like that say? I used to say, getting a PhD is so easy. It's just, anybody can get it. Anybody can get a PhD. You just got to get in. Once you get in, they'll get you through. But that was such a stupid thing to say by somebody who concluded they were stupid, right?
I agree.
Because
So
if
beautiful. So now
yeah,
let's
okay.
take that. And what is the essence of your work? Given all that, what's the essence of your work, and what do you get out of it?
Well, the essence of my work is it's global. It's like total health. It's just total evaluation of somebody's condition. Because I learned early on, after suffering a lot of football injuries, and I had a bad back and hip in my 30s that was causing me a lot of trouble, and it took alternative therapies to help me get out of that. And then so I learned a lot about the neuromuscular system, and then I started getting training in a lot of different modalities like acupuncture and movement reeducation, deep tissue manipulation, uh, language-based uh, language-based therapy like hypnotherapy, guided meditation,
Great.
whole slew of other things that I got trained in because I knew I needed to have a global approach. I
Right.
knew,
So with that, so you got that global approach. You often talk about multimodal, but now out of that work, what do you get out of it? What's your reward for doing it, Bob?
wow, the satisfaction I get from helping people really fast is just, I love that. I mean, I can analyze, so I can talk to somebody within about 5 minutes. I can tell a lot about a person just from listening to what they say. Most of what I do is based in language interpretation, I would say. I listen to what they say, and I also only deal with symptoms. I don't deal with diagnoses. I mean, I listen to what their diagnoses are, but I want to know, how are you feeling? What's going on? We're gonna relieve your symptoms using drug-free natural approaches.
Right.
And
So we got the well, but we love your approach. We love what you do for folks. But are you saying all you get out of it, it's just rewarding for you to do it? We want to know what draw it, not so much what you're giving people and how you do it, but it's exactly why do you do it now? And what's your reward that you take away from doing it? What keeps you doing it?
Well, I have a vision, a future vision. It's my true future vision, is what I call it, which is help as many people as possible in the world achieve optimal health and wellness in the shortest possible time. Because, and I also, my ultimate goal is, world peace. That's my always been my thinking. Got to have world peace. Got to have world peace. How do we get world peace? Well, if people are unhealthy in mind, body, spirit, there's no way we can have world peace. So the way I look at it, at least I'm contributing to helping people get healthy and well on the way to settling the world down so that we can all get along and we can have world peace, which
Yeah.
is what I really want. So I don't know, is that a big
Dr. Bob, just one last question before we move to the last segment. Do you have a dream project?
oh, I have a lot of dream projects, that I'm working on now. I mean, my goal is to be able to develop online programs that people can, purchase and use and get supported while they're participating in those programs, because that's the fastest way, in my view, to help the most number of people. And to support that, I also want to have in-person uh, opportunities for people. I still do one-on-one care, so I'm always interested in people who have tried a lot of therapies and not gotten what they want out of it, and then that's where I come in. And I just want to, I swoop in and I help them, get what they need in the all natural multimodal arena, providing all these different inputs to them. And I have a whole system that I have created.
Everybody listening to the audio, you can reach Dr. Bob at drbobtalks.com. That's drbobtalks.com. All right, for the last segment here, this is rapid fire. You ready? Are you
Yes,
an early bird or a night owl?
both.
Okay. Do you
I'm
prefer
ready.
mountains
I
or
mean, I'm ready. I stay up late at night if I want to, and it doesn't matter how late I stay up. I get up early anyway, and I was trained that way as a kid.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
out and
So
party and get up
mountains or
early.
beach?
I would say mountains,
Okay. And
even though
now
I live
you
in Florida.
coffee, tea, or something else?
Something else.
Okay. All right. Well,
Oh, do you want
thank
me to
you
tell you
so
what something
much.
else is?
So you can tell them the something office.
Oh, gee, well, it's kind of X-rated, so I'm not going to say that. But I would say that if I have a choice between coffee or tea, I'll take tea. And yeah, and then of course, water is like the key to life, so I take water.
So excellent. Well, thank you so much for doing this segment with us. And to hear the full podcast, please join the Well Wave Now podcast series on YouTube and Spotify. You can also join us live every Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time. And remember, wellness, it's in you.